Welcome to Tackle Talk Live, dedicated to making you a better fisherman. Proudly brought to you by our sponsors: The Boat Shop, 3J's Four-Way, Pride Rods, Keith's Toldeo Bend Tackle, The Lakes Insurance Agency, V&M Baits. Now on to your hosts, Ranger Daiwa Pro Staff Steve Graff and V&M Baits President Kevin Jean.
Welcome to Tackle Talk Live here on February the 8th, 2021, right here on the banks of Sibley Lake in Natchitoches, Louisiana. I'm Ranger Daiwa Pro Staffer Steve Graff, along with my good buddy, the president of V&M Baits, fish catching machine, Kevin Jean himself is here, and today we're going to talk Toldeo Bend. We've been talking Rayburn a lot, and we'll get to a little bit of Rayburn news. Once again, guy everybody's a little familiar with, caught him again over there.
Caught another 30-pound sack.
Shocker, what the heck. But anyway, we're going to talk a little Toldeo Bend today, though, quite a bit. We got some a lot of stuff coming up. Bass Champs coming up this next weekend over there,
BFL.
as well as the BFL.
Yeah. It's going to be a crowded, cold lake, that's for sure.
Yep, it really is. And so we're going to give you some, and Kevin and I are going to kind of reveal a few details, even though we didn't win an event, but we did catch quite a few fish. I think we both had limits both days over at Toldeo Bend. We'll reveal how we caught those fish. If you look, just go catch fish. I think some of the stuff that I was doing will work. You can go over there and have a good time and catch you some fish and maybe do pretty good. I did lose 2 or 3 fish that would have really helped me this weekend, but that's fishing. That's the way it goes. But anyway, well, Kevin, real quick, let's talk about our fine sponsors that we got.
Up first, the Boat Shop. Mr. Raymond Kidd and his staff take great pride in keeping your boat and motor performing at its best. A certified Yamaha and Garmin and a full support Garmin dealer offering the best in electronics and the new Garmin trolling motor. So stop by 2410 Sanford Avenue in Shreveport and let the Boat Shop take care of all your boating needs, or you can give them a call at 318-402-0399 or go to shreveportboatshop.com.
And guys, I'm going to tell you, you fellas that are coming up this weekend up I-49 and you're headed for Sam Rayburn, headed for Toldeo Bend for the Bass Champs, right there at exit 127, you need to exit off, turn right, and you're going to run right into 3J's Four-Way Cypress Knee Outdoors, less than a mile off the interstate there. Great tackle selection. A lot of these stores at Toldeo Bend and maybe places you stop along the way, they may be sold out of stuff that, you were looking for. Well, John's going to probably have it. So stop in there, give Cypress Knee a look, and hey, who knows? You may find something in there that may be the secret weapon over there for Bass Champs this weekend. But also while you're there, pick you up a Crispito, a meat pie, fried chicken, whatever. They got a great deli right there in the store at 3J's Four-Way. So check it out. Cypress Knee Outdoors, located in 3J's Four-Way in Cypress, Louisiana. So check them out right there. Call John Abraham and tell him you heard about it on Tackle Talk Live.
Pride Rods, American made and custom built here in Montgomery, Texas, or right there in Montgomery, Texas. The finest rods ever made by Mr. Billy Kistler, constructed with the finest North Fork composite blank by Gary Loomis. They carry all your freshwater and saltwater applications for spinning and casting rods. So stop by your local tackle store and pick one up, or simply ask about Pride Rods. You can also go online at priderods.com or call 832-418-6040.
Also, another great place once you get to Toldeo Bend, Keith's Tackle, right across the Pendleton Bridge on the left, just before you cross Carice Creek over there. He has got another great selection of bait and tackle right there. He'll tell you what's the latest and greatest. He actually fished with against me and Kevin this weekend over at Toldeo Bend. So he was on the water. He's on the water a lot over there, along with Ben Matsuba, former Elite Series pro. Ben can also point you in the right direction. And they're not guys that's just going to give you a bunch of BS. They're going to tell you what's going on.
Well, Keith maybe.
Well, yeah, you got to watch Keith. But Ben will tell you what's happening. And but you just trust these guys. They are good guys, and they're not just trying to sell baits. They want you to catch fish and get good information and keep coming back. So, but anyway, check it out. Keith's Tackle right there just before you cross the Carice Creek on the Pendleton side, Texas side of Toldeo Bend.
And last but not least, the Lakes Insurance Agency is an independent insurance agency that has been taking care of Texans' insurance needs for 25 plus years, offering auto, homeowners, boat, recreational, life, health, and commercial insurance. The owner, Clark Moore, is a local guide and tournament angler who understands your insurance needs as a boat owner and wants to be your go-to guy for insurance needs. So give him a call for a free quote. The agency is located at 805 Southeast Stallings, Suite 3 in Nacogdoches, Texas, or you can give them a call at 936-205-4467. And Clark Moore's owner, he fished ABA over this weekend, just missed a check. I think we fished... we fished circles around each other for 2 straight days.
Oh, okay.
So, and he just missed a check. So, congrats to him over there. Got some good points. I know he's fishing the whole circuit, so got some good points moving forward.
While Kevin gets Cody on the line, I'm going to kind of preview today's program. What we're going to talk about, of course. Up next is Cody Pitt, the winner of the ABA, the inaugural ABA Solo 150 Pro Tour, and get his insight as to what he did to catch those fish over at Toldeo Bend. Now. Don't know how revealing Cody's going to be because he does have bass champs this weekend, but he is willing to talk to us, and that's all we can ask. We'll see what he's got to say. Also, Kevin and I, once again, are going to reveal the techniques that we use to catch fish in Toledo that are working right now, and we'll also kind of preview what Derek Mundy and Clay Phillips, what they did at Angler's Quest event over there, and we'll preview some of the upcoming events taking place the month of February over at Toldeo Bend, Sam Rayburn, and so got a great show lined up for you. And speaking of great, we got the best angler this past weekend on Toldeo Bend, a man that did a great job in catching 2 days of 2 days, Kevin, of stringers over 24 pounds.
Yeah, I mean
that's hard. It's one thing to do it on one day. It's amazing to do it on 2 days in a row.
No, absolutely, and Toldeo Bend, it's fishing a little tough right now. You can go out if you find the right fish. You can catch lots of fish. You find the right spots. You can catch lots of fish.
Yeah.
But it's hard to catch some size.
Yeah, Cody really struggled.
Yeah. Well, an 8.5 pounder with the people that was on the body of water, mounted boats, an 8.5 pounder this time of year on Toledo winning big bass was a little shocking to me. I really expected a 10 to be weighed, but me and Cody talked about that last night. Really shocked it took an 8.5 to win. The big ones just aren't biting. And they're hard to find right now. The big fish are absolutely hard to find. So for what Cody did this time of year with as tough as a lake is fishing, it just shows a phenomenal job that he did.
Those 5-pounders showed up this weekend. So Cody, hey man, congratulations on a great victory. The inaugural. Nobody can ever take that away from you. You can always say from now on, I won the first ABA top 150 solo tour tournament on Toldeo Bend. You were the first guy to ever do that. So congratulations, man.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me.
Cody, and you fished the Toyota event over on Rayburn, correct? The week before.
I did.
So is this are these fish you have been on? And I know most of you know Cody that he's a deep guy. He likes to fish out deep. All I ever see him do is idle. I don't ever see the man fish anywhere. I think he just idles the whole lake. But is these fish you found the week of, or have you had these fish located for a while?
Honestly, I only practiced Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Ever since I moved last year to Hineston, I think I've been on the lake 4 or 5 times in 6 or 8 months. So no, I found them. I think Tuesday was when I found. Actually, the only spot that held up for me for practice was my big fish spot that had 8 or 10 fish. I think I only ended up catching three off of that spot. So actually, the other school that helped me was a place that I ended up going and checking during the tournament, and it worked out.
So you so day 1 you weighed in 27.02. Day 2 you weighed 24.47. We're talking about 2 different spots here.
Yes.
So you never had any place, Cody, just reload. In other words, you didn't go back to the same spot and say, oh, they're there again, or they've reloaded. And with deep fishing, does that tend to happen when you jerk 4 or 5 off a spot? Do they tend to reload or not?
This time of the year it can, because it really depends on where you're fishing. If it's a winter hole, the fish can leave, obviously, because they can start transitioning.
Right.
And actually, my big fish school was a winter hole. So I think that's why it went from 8 or 10 fish to, the first day I caught one off of it. That was 6 3/4. The second day I caught two. I caught a 5 1/2, another one 6 1/2, and I broke off one. So majority of them fish left, and I kind of figured they would just because of where they was at.
Yeah.
But the other fish, the school that had several 4-pounders in it, no, there was, I don't know, 50 to 100 fish, and I think they may stay there, they may leave. I don't know. It's a transition area that more fish are going to come to, and some of those fish are going to, keep moving. So you never really know what that spot is going to do either.
So Cody, take us through day one here. Day one had 2702. You kind of take us through the day, start in the morning. I mean, is this something that happened quick? Did it take all day? I mean, kind of take us through day one here.
Well, obviously the best spot that I had, the school that had 8 or 10 on it, I knew what they was. I caught one in practice, and it was 7 or so. And the rest of them that I seen down there on live scope pretty much showed that they were all, the same size. They were pretty long.
Yeah.
So I started off there, and I think about the 10th cast, I just pulled up. I didn't graph or anything. I just pulled up and made about 10 casts, and I caught that 6 3/4. And that was the only bite I had, and I fished it for probably an hour or so. And I rode around with that fish for, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 hours.
Only fish in the box?
And only fish in the box. I had another school of fish that were somewhat scattered, but I caught a 6-pounder out of it on the first cast, and I never made another cast on it. Well, when I went and checked it, there was a couple fish there, but majority of them had left. They were already scattered out when I found them in practice, but then they just really, like one fish here, you go 20 yards, see one or two, go 20 yards, see one or two. So I didn't catch a fish on that, and then I ended up running just a channel swing that I've caught them on in the past, and actually there was, I don't know, 2 or 3 fish on it, and I tried to get a bite there, didn't get a bite. And be honest with you, the good Lord blessed me, because the way it happened, the way my boat was sitting, the wind blew the front of my boat. I was headed towards some stumps, and I couldn't go that way, so I had to turn some more. And when I turned, I went over a school that they were loaded. And
see, that don't happen to me. That don't happen to me.
That spot, I didn't weigh any of those fish in, but it helped me get I don't know. I think the biggest fish I caught out of it was 3 1/2, 3 3/4. But it gave me the confidence to run around. I had a decent bag, being that I had that 6 1/2 from earlier. So I had a decent bag, and then I ended up running around. And I just checked some stuff from the past, and one of the spots ended up having them, and I caught a 7, and I don't know, several 4-pounders.
So basically, you caught everything. You had that 6 with a bunch of other 2-pounders, let's just say, and in the box. Found them loaded on a new spot. You haven't even checked. You checked during the tournament, and basically culled 4 of your other 5 out.
Pretty much.
Gotcha.
Another thing, Cody, that you kind of touched on just a little bit, and I want to kind of elaborate on it. I noticed for me there was a good bite from 10 o'clock to about 11:30. Both days there was that late morning bite, and I also left fish biting on day one at 2:30 to 3:30. There was fish biting. And
absolutely, there was a later bite. And see, actually, the first day I had my cranking battery went to crap on me, so luckily I ended up getting it cranked, and I went in 30 minutes early because I didn't want to get stranded.
And he also had 27 pounds.
They were loaded, but at that point, all I had was 4-pounders, so I didn't want to keep. I knew I had to fish the next day, so I didn't want to burn anymore, so I just went in.
Well, I can tell y'all now, if I get 27 pounds, I'll be calling a pizza place to deliver me a pizza to the dock.
Honestly, I did not think I had 27. I thought I might have had 23 or 24, because I didn't think they were. I never weighed anything. I just threw them in the box, and
And I will agree.
Kind of happened quick.
I will agree with him, Steve, because I pulled up beside him and I watched him. I was holding his boat actually while he was putting fish in the bag, and I said, "Man, yeah, you got him pretty good, 22, 23, because they were all so fat. I mean, every fish he had was pre-spawn, just fat. They were short.
Right.
I never expected him to have 27 pounds. When he weighed in and went across stage, I went, my goodness,
oversized footballs.
They were just abs. Every one he had was footballs.
Now, Cody, I also want to go in this direction with you. I want to compare Sam Rayburn versus Toledo Bend. Have you found what you do at Rayburn and how you do it? Do the two lakes, in your perspective and how you fish, do they relate to each other? Can you take one technique and go to the other one and do just as well?
I'll be honest, no. They fish different for me.
Yeah, and that's what most people say.
As far as I would say the channel swing stuff, I think all fish do the same thing as far as that. But
Right.
Kind of the stuff that I'm catching fish on Toledo, no, they don't necessarily do the same thing over there for me. And I've tried to run that lake and do that. It just, for whatever reason, it never pans out for me.
Cody, let's go back and talk baits here. Kind of what you're using to throw in them deep schools and to get those bites.
Yeah, before we get to GPS coordinates, we'll do that.
Pretty much everything I caught was on a V&M football jig and a deep crankbait.
Yeah.
What trailer on the jig?
J-Bug.
Okay, so football jig.
Brown and purple jig with a green pumpkin purple haze. J-Bug.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
That's
Okay.
That's good.
And how big of a crankbait?
Do I have to go in detail?
No, you don't. I mean,
No,
I'm just
20.
So we're saying a deep plug is what I mean. We're saying a deep plug.
Yeah, I mean it's an oversized plug. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
No, we ain't got to go into all those details.
Well, can you reveal any color? Does color matter?
It's shad pattern. Actually, the one that I'm throwing, I'll be honest with you, if I had a chartreuse blue, which is the deal this time of the year, I would have threw it. But the one that I'm throwing, I did not have one at the time, so
Yeah.
I didn't get to throw it. Now, whether or not, I don't know if it would have mattered. I still got several bites on just the shad color I was throwing.
Mm-hmm. And as many of you probably know, Cody, of course, is fishing Bass Champs this upcoming week. I'm assuming, unless you change your mind jumping into BFL, we doing Bass Champs this weekend, Cody?
I'm tugging on my wife's chain, trying to get her to jump in the boat with me.
Well, I'm gonna say she is gonna be a trooper. She gets out in that cold weather condition.
It's gonna be cold this weekend.
You better hang on to that woman's all I can tell you.
I told her we stick a buddy heater in here.
Yeah, you better be good to her Valentine's. All I can say.
I know, right?
Well, Cody, look, man, congrats on a good win on a tough. It was a tough week. I mean, there's no doubt about it. No, I do want to jump into day 2, Steve. So,
yeah,
Cody, on day 2, this happened a little bit quicker, and let me tell this story. So at 12 o'clock, I'm fishing a deep point, and Cody runs by me. Well, he throws his hand up, and next thing I know, he does a little U-turn. And he comes, and I was there. Hey, Steve, he sat there for 30 minutes just watching me fish and talking because he's got them already.
Oh, wow.
He's done by 12 o'clock.
That's discouraging, you know?
Well, it made me feel horrible. I'm sitting there fishing my butt off.
Yeah.
I had 13 and a half pounds, and I'm fishing my butt off, and Cody's just chilling. So, but let's talk about day 2. So, obviously, day 2, it happened a lot faster. So, I mean, did you go back to the spot you found on day 1, and they were still there?
So the bigger school of fish that I had, that's where I started, because obviously in my mind, if I could get 18 to 20 and then just fish the rest of the day and try to get a big bite, I would be in good shape.
Right.
So I started off on the big school of fish that I had, and honestly, I fished for an hour and a half maybe, and I only had like 2 14-inchers. And then for whatever reason, this is usually the case for me. I never catch them in the first hour.
Yeah.
But it seems like this time of the year, I always do really good. Once 8:30, 9 o'clock rolls around, the fish really seem to set up right and start biting. So about 8:30 is when it started going down.
Well, I know.
And I think I had, which I never had a big bite off of that spot. I just had mostly 3.5 to 4 pounders.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I went to that other spot that I had, and I actually idled it. I was gonna pull up and fish, and I was like, no, just check it, because I don't know what I was thinking, to be honest with you. And I idled it, and there was 2 sitting there. So I turned around. First cast, I caught a 5.5, and the third cast, I caught a 6.5. And I said, well, I caught them 2. And I was fixing to pull the trolling motor up and just run some other stuff, because I knew I had plenty of time. Well, I don't know. I made like 3 or 4 more casts and had another bite, and I set the hook. And when I set the hook, it broke. So, well,
Now that hurts right there, because you catch a 6 and a 5, and then you break one off.
Yeah, break a hook.
No, he broke the line, broke it off.
Oh, broke it off.
Yeah. We don't
Well,
break hooks in the V&M football jigs.
I was fixing to
We
say,
don't
that's
break
not a good
hooks, Steve.
advertisement for me.
We don't break hooks. He broke his line. But no, I mean, that had to have hurt right there. I mean, you catch a 6 and a 5, and then you break one off, because that one, percentages are, that was another monster.
up until that point, everything I'd caught off of that spot, the first one in practice was a 7. The next one was a 6 3/4, on the first day, and then a 5.5, a 6.5. So in my mind, I thought it was another really good one.
Right.
And I made about 5 more. I tied another jig on, made about 5 more casts, and then I caught a 4 even, which didn't do nothing for me. I think I had like my smallest fish was like 407. I ended up weighing them just to see what I had. And then I think I fished a little bit longer after that, and that was about all the fishing I done.
Yeah.
After that, I just ran and checked a bunch of stuff, but
Because at that point, you got to have something special to start upgrading.
Yeah. Well, Cody,
Yeah.
one question I got for you too, and I don't think I've ever asked anybody. You deep water guys that fish a lot of this deep stuff, cloudy or sunshine? Does it seem to? I mean, we were cloudy both days, really the whole time. Sun broke out a little bit, Friday afternoon on us, but
Cloudy. It sleeted on day one.
yeah, it was. Yeah, actually, it was. It was coming down. It rained. We had a good little rain, but. Cloudy or sunshine, does it tend to affect the deep bite?
be honest with you, I don't know. I've caught them in both conditions.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do feel like the cloudy situations, they start to roam.
Yeah.
They don't.
They scatter. Yeah.
They scatter a little bit. The sunny conditions, they do tend to get a little tighter, and you can catch them a little better. But I've caught them in both conditions.
Right.
Well, Cody, man, congrats. Heck of a weekend against some of Toledo's finest, no doubt about it. I mean, first place, 51.49 pounds. Second place had 48.43. Third place was 44 pounds. So, you definitely showed out a little bit. And congratulations, and best of luck this weekend, upcoming Bass Champs.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
All right. There we go, Cody Pitt. You heard it right there from the man himself, how he did it over there at Toldeo Bend. And, again, congratulations to Cody. Great angler, a guy that was obviously a patient angler. And I think, Kevin, for fishing deep, you have to be, I guess, not only patient, but I guess it's a test, too, of your will and desire to wait them out.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm fixing to say. And for me, this past weekend, I never got my rotation right. I of course, I'm a deep guy too, and I that's all I did all weekend. Deep fishing this time of year, especially, is when to go, when to leave, when to stay, when to idle. I mean, it's just decisions. And as Cody said, he was a little bit fortunate in some of those decisions he made. But I can tell you, Steve, unless those fish are on the bank and just every fish in Lake Spawn, if there's any deep fish to be caught, Cody is going to be. He's going to be somebody to be reckoned with. I mean, he has proven himself the last 3-4 years on Toledo and what he's done and what he's accomplished and the weights he has brought in. The guy is just a deep fishing fanatic and can get the job done, no doubt about it.
Well, Kevin and I both weighed two limits each day, and I'll start this thing off. I'll tell you what I did, how I'm catching fish, and it was funny that Cody should say exactly. If he'd had chartreuse blue, that's what he would rather had. Well, that's what I caught my fish on. Now I was fishing shallow, anywhere from 5 to 15 feet, and depending on what area I was in. But on day one, all my fish, except for one I weighed in, came on this bait right here. It's a 3XD, and I was throwing it off of points, especially when it was brush. That made it even better, of course. Fish were set up on the edge of the brush or in the brush, and I caught 4 of my keepers on day one on the 3XD chartreuse blueback, and it's a really good bait. Been throwing it for years. A lot of guys throw this. Then on day 2, I went with a rig that a lot of guys don't even know. I've told them, people, what is it? It's called a Mojo rig. What a Mojo rig is, it's got a cylinder weight on it, and you've got this rubber stopper that inserts in there, and it allows you to slide your weight up and down the line, and you can set your leader at 2 foot, you can set it at 3 foot, you can set it at 6 inches. And this is what I used, and I had about a 2.5 foot leader with this Mojo weight. It's about, one thing I like about the Mojo weight, the cylinder weight, it comes through brush really well. And all 5 of my fish on Saturday, the 12 pounds, whatever I had, 11.5, whatever I had, came on this rig with the, I kept it simple. I tried different colors of lizards during the practice time and everything, and I ended up settling on green pumpkin with a chartreuse tail. I tried black neon. I tried watermelon red. I tried different colors that African special just didn't work. And I was like, okay, let's just go back to the basics. Green pumpkin, water, dipping the tail of chartreuse, about a 2.5 foot leader. Worked great for me. Caught a lot of fish on it. And I also threw a standard Carolina rig with a 3/4 ounce weight. As long as the wind wasn't too bad, I'd have to go to a 1 ounce sometimes. I had 2 rigs up. But anyway, that's what I did to catch. I had a little over 20 pounds for 2 days. And Kevin?
Yeah, I caught all my fish out deep. In practice, I felt like between 13 and 14 pounds was going to get a check, and I felt very good about that in practice. I had a decent practice. I had 4 or 5 schools located that had some good fish in them. And, day one, I weighed in 10 pounds, and I probably caught 40, 50 fish that day. I just never got the right bite. I felt like my rotation and my deep spots was off. Just never could make the right move at the right time. I had my 5 that weighed 10 pounds probably at 8 o'clock. It took me 30 minutes to get them. And I fished around. And about 10:30, 11 o'clock, I made a decision to try to go catch a big fish, and it never worked out. Day 2, I just caught every fish I could off every spot, and I got up to 13.5 pounds. And day 1 just hurt me. I didn't make the right decisions out deep on day 1. But now going back to baits, I caught all mine I was Carolina rigging a baby swamp hog in Gleason Candy. I was throwing a football jig, a V&M football jig with a blue shadow football jig with a blue shadow J-Bug trailer. They will bite those, and you can get good bites on those. I caught good fish in practice. I caught a 3.5 on day 2 on the football jig. But guys, if you want to get bit on Toldeo Bend right now, just put some fish in the boat. Now, you might not catch a whole lot of big ones, but if you want to get bit, if you can see some fish on your graph, all you got to do is throw a drop shot down there.
Yeah.
Steve, they will eat it.
Yeah.
And you can throw, a lot of times you pull up to a spot, you can idle and see them, and throw a Carolina rig in there, throw a football jig in there, throw a plug, throw a crankbait in there. You won't get bit. You pick up that drop shot, and I was using a flat tip worm, a V&M flat tip worm in Morning Dawn, and the straight shooter in Morning Dawn, and at one spot, I know I caught 12 fish and 12 straight casts. And they wasn't all dinks. They're 2-pounders. But if you pick up that drop shot and if you want to go catch fish right now, that's the bait to do it. No doubt about it.
Well, and also, too, I will say this. I didn't pull out the Mojo rig on day 1. I wish I had of, because it's similar to the drop shot rig in that I lightened up. I went with 10-pound test leader and throwing it on 20-pound test braid, and tied an Alberto knot. I did lose. I've never had trouble with the Alberto knot, but I did this past weekend. I lost 2 big fish because the knot simply come untied, and I've tied that a jillion times, and I don't know what it was. I don't know if my hands were cold. I didn't tie it right like I should have, but looking back, I wish I'd have forgot the braid and just thrown it on 17-pound fluorocarbon or even 15-pound fluorocarbon, and just stayed with the fluorocarbon and forgot the braid. I'd have probably got those 2 big fish in the boat, which would have probably gave me 14, 15 pounds on Saturday. But I thought about it on the way home. That was my mistake. It's something I should have thought about a little bit more. But again, lightening up and going smaller, just like we do with the drop shot. This Mojo rig is really a good rig, and it's a great way to catch fish. And again, you can drag it through those brush tops, and they were in some brush tops this weekend. So, and it'll be that way this coming week over there at Toledo Bend.
Those fish aren't going to change. They're going to kind of stay away. There was a lot of fish caught shallow too. I will say that. I personally could not get anything shallow going. I could not. I tried it, but I want to, and I like to fish deep. That's just what I do. And what I feel comfortable doing this time of year.
Now, and you can get bit shallow. Kevin's right. I got some bites on day 2 shallow in probably 2 foot of water, but they were all buck bass. The females had not pulled up yet. They're not there yet. You can catch all the buck bass you want, anywhere from 1.5 pounds to up to 3 pounds. They're there, and you can catch them, but you're just not going to get the big female to pull up on there yet.
And I will say this, if you can find the right brush pile and the right depth for you guys fishing champs, BFLs this weekend, the brush piles have some fish in them. They do. Yep. You got to find the right ones. There's no doubt about that.
Another thing, too, if the sun is shining for you, because I know one of my practice days, I was in 5 to 8 feet of water, and I was catching fish off the stumps in 5 to 8 foot of water with a trap. They had hit the trap bite's still there. You can just go out there and still. I did put on a crankbait just to something maybe they're not seeing that much because they've seen a lot of traps lately. But the crankbait bite also paid off. But you can get a trap bite, the same old Rayburn Reds, orange, whatever you want to throw. I mean, they'll pretty much hit it. Also, if it is sun shining, don't be afraid to put that chrome blue back on, because I'm telling you right now, I know I throw the Wiki shad and the Aruka shad by Spro, and they hit both of those baits. And but it stayed cloudy, so I pretty much stuck with a darker red, and I caught some fish. I caught 2 keepers on them, and on the first day especially. So,
Steve, rounding out the top 10 there in the ABA this weekend, kind of a who's who among Toledo Bend fishermen. So Cody, of course, won it with 51.49. Cameron Roan, he's from Beaumont. He weighed 48.43, had 23.16 on day 1 and 25.27 on day 2. This is the same guy that won the ABA the division series. I think they have out of Pirates Cove down there 2 or 3 weeks ago. They had 29 pounds.
Oh, okay.
So it's the same guy. He had 29 pounds a couple weeks ago in a small little tournament down there.
Yeah.
Nick Kincaid from Oklahoma had 18.66 and 26.23 and ended up with third with 44.89. Fourth place Marshall Hughes had a total of 42.14. Fifth place, John Sokup from Oklahoma had a total weight of 41.20. Kind of going down through the top 10, Sam Huckabee from Shreveport, Cole Moore right there from Anacoca, Glenn Freeman in 9th, Kevin Lazion in 10th, Harold Allen was in 12th.
Yeah, I didn't know Harold Allen did that well on day 1. He had 21.17 on the first day.
Yeah, had tough day 2, had 10 pounds on day 2.
Yeah.
Day 2 was a lot tougher.
Yeah,
day 2 it got, and luckily I caught him a lot better on day 2 than I did on day 1, but for those guys, for a lot of the top guys, day 2 was a lot tougher.
And I'm going to give Kevin Lazion a little bit of credit here and make his head swell a little bit.
That.
But on Friday, we were standing at the boat dock for takeoff for the first day, and me and him and Harold Allen just sitting there talking, and I said, man, I've had trouble getting bites. They ain't bit good for the last 3 or 4 days. And Kevin told me, he said, I'm telling you, they're going to bite today. Get ready. They're going to bite. Well, he was right. They bit.
Yeah.
They bit a lot better than anybody else predicted they would bite.
On day 1, they had 7 bags over 20 pounds. Now, that did shock me. And that's catching them, guys. This is an individual tournament.
Yeah.
Toledo's been
tough. This ain't a team deal.
Day 1, 7 bags over 20 pounds.
Yeah.
But finishing off, 16th place, got the last check. Shannon Wingate right there out of Ritter. Total 2-day total weight of 27.89. So it took 27.89 to get a check, which a little bit higher. I was thinking 26, a little bit higher than kind of what I thought. But day 1, those guys they caught them.
Yeah, and the next one, of course, the next ABA solo is the last. Let's see here. It's the last weekend of March. I'll go ahead and give you the dates for that if you're interested in signing up for that. March 26th and 27th. And official practice will start that Monday the 22nd. You have to pay your entry fee by that point for official practice. And make sure, and I'm telling you, Sam Rayburn, it won't surprise me. We had 84 for this one. It's the first one. A lot of guys didn't know about it, but I'm telling you, I think Sam Rayburn, it may fill up.
Oh yeah, it will.
Because
it will.
that's just a hot lake, and a lot of guys are going to show up there that won't fish anywhere else. They're going to show up at Rayburn.
Right.
So,
No, they will. So moving on, Mr. Derek Mundy wins again on Sam Rayburn with another 30-pound bag.
Yeah.
Him and Clay Phillips partnered up on Saturday and won the Angler's Quest, and the Wacom Outdoors tournament show. So they entered both tournaments, weighed in at both tournaments with 32.50, and won both tournaments. So Steve, we're in the last month and a half, he's weighed 2 40-pound bags, calling a 39-pound bag a 40-pound bag.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure 2 30-pound bags.
Yeah, I think you're right. No, I think you're right. I mean, who does that?
This is getting beyond impressive. I mean, for what he's done, and sometimes guys, people get on this spot, get this spot that's just got them, and it's got big ones, and they manage their fish properly.
Yeah.
We've seen a ton of guys, over a month's time weigh in that 25 to 30-pound sack. He's not doing this on one group of fish.
Right.
As he stated, when he weighed in at 39 pounds in the Toyota Series, he caught them off of a place he's never fished in a tournament.
Yeah.
He's got it figured out over there. He's got it dialed in. This is really getting to be impressive.
Yeah.
And Clay Phillips, who's his partner, who this past weekend is, he won all kinds of things last year. He's been on Tackle Talk with us.
Yeah.
But what Derek is doing over there at Rayburn is just really something I haven't seen in a really long time. To do this over this span of time.
Right. And just so everybody knows, those of you that are coming to Fish Bass Champs this weekend, they made an announcement as of today. Important notice, due to forecasted temperatures, this weekend will be a trailing event at Toldeo Bend. And believe me, that's a place where that really helps an angler. If you guys are wanting to go north and get up there in those creeks up north, and because there's fish up there, or you want to go south and not have to make that long run, especially if the wind's blowing. Toldeo Bend, that's because it's not like Rayburn. Rayburn, you can kind of get on one side of the lake or the other and maybe avoid the wind. Toledo, you're in the boat roads. It don't matter. You're going to catch it someplace, one place or another. So that's a huge decision there by Chad Potts at Bass Champs to let y'all trailer.
Absolutely. I mean, Chad does a great job with that, and called it this far ahead so people don't have to worry about it. So hats off to him for doing that. So upcoming events for this week, this weekend, February 13th, Bass Champs and BFL on Toldeo Bend. BFL is going out of San Miguel. Bass Champs is going out of Cypress Bend. February 20th, Texas Team Trail. I believe that's their first one of the year for this division.
No, I think you're right. Yeah.
February 20th, Texas
T,
on Rayburn. February 20th. February 21st is the Outlaw Outdoors Sweet 16 event that Sunday. And then the very following weekend to finish out February 27th is the Outlaw Team Series number 2.
Yeah. Also, I want to remind people of a hazard that's right there at the boat dock on Toldeo Bend at Cypress Bend. There's some pipe underwater. If you're looking out if you're standing on the boat dock looking to your right towards the main lake, that pipe is about 10 feet off that front corner, straight out between off the pier, about 10 feet. And it dinged my prop, and I've got it's not enough that I'm going to have it fixed, but the guy beside me hit it hard, and he messed up his prop pretty bad. So the water's low enough. It's 3.5 feet down right now, and probably ain't going to jump up this week. There's not a lot of rain forecasted, so be careful around that boat dock right there at Toldeo Bend at Cypress Bend Park, because you will hit it with your motor and mess up your prop.
Yeah, I did hear several guys hitting that. So you guys in Bass Champs kind of be aware of that. It's between the last dock and the fishing pier, kind of going at right at an angle towards it. So be aware of that. Any Bass Champ guys this weekend.
So, well, Kevin, that's going to wrap us up.
Kind of wrap us up.
Again, we can't say thank you enough, guys. A lot of people tuned us in today to hear Cody Pitt and how he caught them, and hopefully each and every week we're going to try to have those guys on that are winning these tournaments at Sam Rayburn, Toldeo Bend especially, and hopefully you're learning something at the same time, about deep water techniques or whatever technique they're using. Now, some of these guys are kind of tight-lipped, and we've had a couple that, didn't really want to talk much, but overall we do appreciate you guys that come on with us and tell us what you're doing. It does make for everybody wants to catch them, but not everybody can. And so, but it is good information that maybe guys can use down the road to help them become a better angler. So, and again, if you want to also be a part of the sponsorship program here, we'd love to have you. You can message us through our Facebook site to send us a message. Hey, I'm interested in being a sponsor of the program. We'd love to have you. We're 4,000 views a week, doing really well with our YouTube. It continues to increase each and every week. So we'd love to have you. And I think it's be money well spent, and we're not expensive at all. We just we're trying to build this thing and make it as best as we can possibly be here at Tackle Talk Live. So again, thank you for tuning us in. We appreciate you. Kevin, anything?
Until next time, we'll see you guys. Best of luck to everybody fishing Bass Champs and BFL this weekend.
Yeah, if you want to continue to be a better angler, keep watching Tackle Talk Live. Have a good week, guys.